What is going on, guys? Welcome back to RideRazor. My name is Austin. In today's video, we're going to be teaching you guys how to do a double tail whip. So before you guys start trying to do your double tail whips, there is a few things you need to know ahead of time. The first one is obvious. You need to have normal tail whips on lockdown. You can't do a double tail whip if you can't do a single tail whip. So I highly recommend you guys work on dialing in your tail whips before you proceed on trying double whips. All right, so with that out of the way, let's talk about how to do a double tail whip. Honestly, it's pretty self-explanatory. You're just gonna be doing 2 tail whips, but there are a few tips and tricks that you can utilize that will speed up the process of actually learning it. The first one is staying on the ground and practicing the motion without actually being in the air. The more comfortable you can get doing the wrist motion and kicking it and jumping back on your scooter on the flat ground will only help you be more comfortable in the air. So I recommend sitting here with your scooter and practicing doing 2 tail whips, jumping on it, 2 tail whips, jumping on it, just so you have the wrist motion, the kicking motion, and the jumping motion down. I promise you, it's gonna help when you're in the air. All right, so let's break down the steps on how I would do a double tail whip. I would compress my knees, hop. As soon as I feel myself coming off the ground, I'm gonna kick the first tail whip out. Once you kick that first tail whip out, you're gonna use your wrist to complete the second tail whip. That's why practicing this motion on the ground is very important, because it's gonna come in really handy. So jump, kick the first tail whip out, use your wrist to bring the second tail whip around. Once you see the second tail whip coming around, you're gonna wanna slowly get ready to land on it. So timing is key, because if you guys cannot catch your tail whips, it's all about timing. You have to time the second tail whip to come around perfectly so you land on the deck when it meets the ground at the exact same time. So hop, kick the first tail whip out, use your wrist to bring the second one, and land. Once again, practice makes perfect. Sit on the ground, get that motion down. Make sure you guys are at a skate park or using a ramp that you guys feel fairly comfortable on, and you'll get it no problem. And as you guys progress, these tips will work for triple tail whips, quad tail whips, and anything along those lines. The more tail whips you're gonna do, all it is just getting more comfortable with that wrist motion, perfecting it, and getting really comfortable with your scooter and not being afraid of it. So now that we know how to do the trick, let's talk about where to do the trick. Personally, if I had to do a double tail whip, I would prefer to do it out of a quarter pipe or a bank at the skate park that I know I can get a fairly good amount of air out of. You don't need an insane amount of hang time, but you're gonna need a decent amount just to make sure you can get that double whip all the way around. Some people do prefer to learn those tricks flat, but personally, I think out of a ramp makes it just a little bit easier. And once you've perfected them out of a ramp, then you can practice landing them on the flat ground. And just like that, we know how to do the trick and where to do the trick. I think it's time to go try a few.